Hello, I hope you're having a good day, and in this video I'm going to talk about saddlebags, or as we call them, saddle pockets. So if that sounds like something that interests you, I hope you watch and maybe I can earn your subscription. So here we go. So in this video I'll talk about different saddle pockets that I've used and what I think of them, and then I'll talk some about medicine bags or doctoring bags and my opinions on those and what I think works best. So people, when they think saddlebags or saddle pockets, this is what they're thinking of. And this is a pair that belonged to my great-grandpa. I believe they are some Army surplus ones, and you can see the U.S. emblem or logo right here. They still make this style. I believe it's called they're called cavalry bags. This is a little bit big for me. I don't ever need to carry this much stuff with me, but this is probably what you're thinking of when you think of saddlebags. But what I generally use is something about this size here. So the nice thing about these is they're not as big as those cavalry ones, so they don't flop around a whole lot. They do still flop around some, and no matter what you do to the inside there, you're going to be making noise. But I usually carry, a Moore Maker makes a pair of fencing pliers that's got a short handle that'll fit in here, and then usually some cotton gloves or leather gloves, and then just other odds and ends. I don't even actually know what's in this pair. I haven't had them on my saddle for a while. There's this... this little setup here, you know, this cable with the handles for sawing through stuff. I used to ride in the timber a lot more than I do now, and I've had to use it before to when a cow gets, they call it slipper toes or sled foot. They'll get one toenail that grows real long, and you can, if you got to rope them and tie them down, and then you can use that to saw that off, and then it relieves some of the pain for them, and you can get them through to the season that they're in, raising a calf or whatever. So because I got a couple different saddles, I have a couple different set of saddlebags, saddle pockets. This is a pair that I kind of put together. I bought them somewhere, and I had cut the hole for the saddle strings, and then I got a different saddle, and those saddle strings were a little bit further down, so I kind of had to cut this notch in there. And then I added this. It's not Angora, I think it's Tibetan lamb. I added this. I stitched it onto the lid of the saddle pocket, and then undo these real quick. I added a pocket to these, so then I keep things that I need to get to quickly or that I don't want to have to get off and undo. And I got a little monocular in here, and then I think in this other side here I've got some cotton gloves. So of course if my hands get cold or if I've got to rope something and I'm worried about getting a rope burn. So, but I like the way that those look. They're kind of based off of what's called the old-timey things are called bacarillos. So they're kind of supposed to look like that. The original ones would be a lot longer, long enough that you could put a rope in. So that's another pair that I like. And putting something like this on there is pretty easy. There's cannel bags. The thing that's really nice about these is they obviously fit behind your cannel, and because there's nothing hanging over the edges of your saddle, there's no flopping around. These strap on and they stay in place pretty good. A good friend of mine named Chip Graham made these. He's on Facebook, Chip Graham Saddlery, and he makes these and all kinds of stuff and saddles. And in my video about pocket knives, he made the sheath for the pocket knife that I talked about. And somebody in one of my videos, I was talking about not liking to pack a canteen of water with me because they're kind of big and cumbersome and bounce around. And somebody had mentioned taking one of those bladders for backpacking and putting it in here, and I did that once, and it works really good. The only downside to these is that all of your stuff is just kind of stuffed in here. You don't really have there's not much organization to it. So if you put a lot of stuff in here, you might be digging through here trying to find your lighter or your binoculars or whatever you got in here. But that's the only downside to them. But other than that, these are really handy too. Another set here that I carried for a really long time, years and years, are these ones. And obviously this was pretty cool to have this holster on here. These were made by a business in Laramie, Wyoming. It's called the Boardwalk. I think they've since I think they've retired or something. But what I liked about it was they were interchangeable. You know, obviously I could put my holster on this side and swap them. I don't know if they made other things that you could put on here, other styles of saddle pockets. They probably did. They made some really neat stuff, but this was always my favorite. So yeah. Another type of saddle pocket that's handy to have is one like this. You put it where your Lattigo keeper is. I've seen them where they have the Lattigo keeper just built into it, but this was made by Cow Camp Supply by Sparky Wallace, and so was the saddle. But it's just easier to reach down right here to get your binoculars, or I have a binocular in there. And these saddle bags or saddle pockets were made to go along with this saddle. They're just not on there right now because I'm making a video about them. I'll talk about some doctoring bags, and that's what these are. And on this side, you've got your medicine, your LA200, your vaccine or whatever, and then this is just a big pocket here to put whatever else. Of course, I got some gloves in here and other odds and ends. But this is something that you would use if you're doctoring a lot of cattle. If you've got yearlings on wheat fields or something, this would be something you'd want to pack with you. The thing I like about this set on your medicine side is that you unbuckle this, and this folds down. So you've got your medicine in here, and you'll have your, the lid of your bottle right here, and it can carry 3, obviously. But what's nice about this is if you've gone and given, 5 or 6 shots of LA200, you're going to have several holes in that bottle, and some of them, this is just on here like this. It doesn't fold up. So one time I had a different set like this, and after I got done with it, my saddle was sitting in the tack room, and I'd left the bottle in here, and that LA200 dripped out down on a saddle below it and kind of ruined a breast collar and wasted a bunch of LA200. So I like that these fold up, so you can leave your medicine in here and not worry about it dripping out and wasting it. And then it's got a little pocket here for needles, and then here you got a pocket for your syringe. And then on this side, this is where if I've got to carry a balling gun, I put it right there. So these are nice if you have to doctor a lot. And yeah. And I just got this, and this is kind of more if you don't have to doctor a whole lot. You've got so you got your deals for your syringes here. These were originally made for those disposable plastic syringes. So on this one, I had to cut these notches so that the handle for this syringe would fit in there. This isn't a disposable one. And you got a spot for your needles, spot for you could fit a smaller sized bottle of medicine in there. Probably put a bigger one in there. And then what's nice is there's also a spot for your chalk if you have to chalk stuff up after you doctor it. This is also like a Cale-style. It's just going to go behind your cantle, and it's got holes to strap her down. It's probably not going to flop around too much. I haven't actually used it yet, so I think this would be something that I probably use more now that I don't have to doctor as much stuff like with that big doctoring bag. With this big doctoring bag, I used it to doctor scours on calves last year, and it was just a little bit too big and cumbersome and flopping around, when you're running after a calf, and this thing is just flopping like crazy. I guess for some reason that bugs me, but it might not bug you. So, and one last little thing I thought I'd mention, a little tip here, is if you've got a doctor a lot of foot rot, get you one of these deals. I've got the bowling gun kind of on here just so that they stay together. But and get you a metal bowling gun. Don't get those plastic ones. There'll be some animal you stick this in, and they'll catch this with their teeth, and they just got to chomp on those plastic ones one time to ruin it. So a metal one is quite a bit better. But as far as your Nuflers, your big tablets you got to carry with you, get you a deal for carrying shotgun shells, because these are really fragile for some reason. If you just throw these in a saddlebag, they're just going to break up to a million pieces. And some people stick them in the fingers that are of gloves, and they still break up in there. But I've just apparently had one break off in here so far. But yeah, I get you a deal for carrying shotgun shells, and you'll save those. I hope you found the information in this little video maybe useful, maybe learned something, maybe found it a little bit interesting, and maybe I earned a follow or a subscription out of you. But thanks for watching.